Hi everyone, a warm welcome to this your space. We are here also once again talking about the bereavement process. My name is Mariana and I am psychologist from Assure for Life. Also, I am so grateful for the attendance to this conference today and also give you this special and congrats for the holidays parties that we already have in the last year. We also are here with a new programming calendar because we also want to give you another topics that we can also develop about the bereavement process, and also we are still talking about the elderly or also the um, old adults. That will be the two different topics that we're going to have: quality of life and the elderly. Also, we would like to extend you the invitation to leave your comments and suggestions through the YouTube channel. We already received other comments, and also we would like to know if you have questions or suggestions about different topics that you would like to talk and also receive different teaching in this space. Knowing this, I would like to introduce now the main topic, that is discovering a path forward in times of grief. This is a topic that normally we don't have time to talk, and also we don't like to talk because the death of a loved one generates a lot of pain in ourselves, and also uncertainty, feeling of loss. That is a feeling that we don't like to experience, but we have to experience in some point in our life. So we decide to talk about what we should do in that first moment when we are facing loss, the loss of a loved one. And we would like to also give you some clues to recognize when you are not having a good way to accept or in front of this kind of situation, the first days of a loss. So we have different ways to react, and also we have an emotional blockage in that first date, or also the first moment when we receive the news, when we lost our loved one. It depends. It doesn't matter if it's an accident or even if we already was accompanying that process. Maybe the person that passed away have already illness before, and that was the reason of that. For that reason, um, we always going to have an emotional blockage, and sometimes we have mental paralysis, and that is a way that we have a protective mechanism in our brain, and is also a way to stop and also attack a painful reality that we are confronting in that moment. So the first minute or even the first um, moment in that um, situation to receive, also in the moment that we receive the news, we're going to have some confused reactions that maybe we are not always ready to confront. For that reason, we would like to talk about that because it's something that we not normally talk. Also, the ability to take decisions diminish in that situation, and grief makes difficult to confront and also to process the acceptance of that loss. And also we're going to lose concentration, memory, and their reactions and symptoms of the grief will be different in every person. So we have to understand how the people will react. Some people will react sometimes aggressive or without no feelings, or most of the people can have reactions that makes us feel stressed a little bit more than the new that you love as a loved one. For that reason, the ability to react and accept that situation diminish, and it's normal to have a little bit more difficult to address that situation, and also to accept the tax or the new tax in these few days or first days after the death. From the days before or even the following days after the death, and when the death occurs um, due it an illness, we have a different opportunity to even accompany the loved one, and also we have the chance to talk with the departed loved one before, and also we have sometimes the chance to say goodbye to that important person for us. That is a way also that we can have a chance to let everything already, and also the tax, sometimes we can have all that situation and resolve because we already know how to confront some situations or tasks that the departed loved ones do it before. And sometimes we have that chance. But also we're going to talk about the situations when we don't have the chance to talk, or sometimes left everything um, as we would like to left, because we don't even know when that death comes for an accident, or sometimes when the people get ill in the same day comes something difficult, or even something happened in the hospital and the person dead in the same day. So we are not all ready to receive that new, and also to accept that new reality. That actions and that situation can be stressful and confronting also to ourselves, and also confront the family members. And we have also to face that situation during the grieving process. In this conference, we will talk about actions and accompany and how to accompany that first days after the death of a loved one, and some recommendations that we already make for these first days can be more bearable for us, and also as an individual and as a families. We're going to start with the before death, because it's a situation that when we have the chance and also the gift to have the new, or even the accept that reality that you're going to lose your loved one because he's ill, because is in the hospital, and also have too many years, or even you are accompanying chronic illness, and you already know that the death will happen in some day or even some moment. For that reason, we would like to give you a specific and little space in this conference, because you have a great opportunity to do some recommendations that we create for you. Before the death, we will have this opportunity to also talk about what we have to do in this situation. So there are many families that accompany their loved ones, and also in the final stage of their lives. So there are families that all always united through that process. And in this situation before passing, we're going to, it doesn't matter if you are maybe already to accept that new reality, We're going to have also to confront difficult times and a lot of pain that also we have always to confront in one situation of a grief. So we have to experience some situation of say goodbye to the loved one. And that is the chance that we have. For that reason, we can take it. The denial can come in that situation because it's natural to don't accept and even don't want to lose that important person. But it's the chance that we have. So as a family, we can also start to give a specific space to every family member and friends and partners to say goodbye, and also to create a specific space or maybe a ritual to say goodbye to that person, and also give the chance to express their feelings, forgive if necessary, forgive yourself or even forgive the person that is dying, and also give the thanks, be grateful for how important was the person, and also the things that you already learned for that person, for that loved one. That could give us the opportunity to reconciliation between the parties, share final disposition, because you, the person that is going to die, have the chance to organize how we're going to be the funeral ritual, some innovation topics, and who's going to irradiate something that is important or legal process. You will have all the chance to talk about that, and also to understand and prepare all the tasks that sometimes when it is not an unexpected situation, you don't have the chance to also organize and inform that situation. So it's important to share with the loved one and also talk about that situation, talk about what we're going to do. Now we have here what kind of things is important to do and also to recognize. We will have the opportunity to share the passing. Prepare to share the news, and that is something that we have to also take in account when going to inform that process and also to inform that situation. We have to understand that before the passing, we have the chance to organize or even have a structure of the things that we're going to do. But even if you are prepared and you have all the tasks already did, we can also remember the other part, that is, you don't have the chance to talk with the person that's going to die. That is, most of the time happens that we don't know when the death going to come, and we are not ready to accept that loss. So we would like to also share with you some topics that we would like to, or even some keys that we would like to share with you. In that case that you going to share now to the people that you love, your friends, your family, that your loved ones have departed, we're going to also introduce you to a way to be more knowledge, and also be a person that have the strength to recognize and also to share with the people. One of the first keys is prepare to share the news. That is something important because is the way that we can find the balance between the reality and also the truth, and also to, with the other part, that is, this is what is happening, and also how I'm going to take direction in order to face this new reality and share the news. Choose the information that you would like to share, because not all the time we can say that that person dead because it was the time, because it was an older person. Most of the time we don't know how it happens, and also we recommend when it was like an accident or a murder, try to just choose the most important information and don't tell details, because most of the people don't want to remember the departed loved ones in a badly way. They want to remember them as they was, with a good face, with a good body, with that energy. So be careful with that kind of information you're going to share, and that will help to the people to inform this situation easily and less difficult and or hard it can be. The other key is prevent the other person to receive the news. We can prepare to the people to receive that bad news or unexpected news, because we can also prepare a space or a private space to be quiet, to be relaxed, and also a space like the home, or even a warm space where you can even share this news, because you don't know how they're going to react. Could be aggressive, could be like a heart attack, but just will be a panic attack. So you can relax the person, and maybe you can give a cup of tea, and also um, give the space or appropriate space to share this news. Will give also a good way to in front, and also to have the enough energy to still also passing all the process. The other key is keep communication directly and clearly and simply. This is important because when we're going to communicate this kind of news, it's important to have this eye contact. When we talk about the eye contact, is keep communication directly and clear and simple. This was the death, and um, he is or she is a person that is going to be in a in a murder. So we're going to have this space and also the opportunity to talk about how it was the death, with the good information, but also with the words that is enough, because sometimes for the children and for the adolescents talk about so they going to be with God, or he's gone, or he let us, will be confused, because it's not talking about the death. It's talking about maybe that person will come in a specific time, or maybe he will come back, and that is not true. The children and also the adolescents can accept the death and easily, and sometimes better than we can do. But that depends also of the process, and also the way that we can share that kind of news and that kind of reality. So speak slowly, be clear with the words. He passes away, he has died, and avoid to say like God has taken, or um, he just let it go, he let it us, and stop to do that. Avoid to say that kind of words, and create good way also to accept it, and that will be the way to also talk about the death. Now he is dead, but he will be part of us, and also create of that ritual. That is the part that we're going to talk, and we already talked in previous conference. So avoid the kind of ways to see that God has taken, can be confused for the children and also for adolescents, and even for family or friends members with mental disabilities could be confusing. So you can even say he passed away, and also try to do it in a good way and also in a good space, also where they can feel safe and also where they can ask the questions that you can also answer because you already prepared to the to to share the new. Other key that we have is allow time to process the information. That is really important to give the person to understand and also accept the death, because it's a personal moment and every individual will in front in a different way. So we have also to give the chance to accept it and recognize in a different way. So left day to accept it, and um, there's some people that comes on shock stage. They can be quiet or even don't look to anyone. There are people that can start to cry and scream. Also, they can be people that could be a little bit aggressive, so you can even stop it and take it again to the reality. But just let it go. They cry or even be in shock. Remember then that is a natural situation. We are not sometimes prepared, but we have to accept this new reality in the best way. Also, having always the support or even the belief and the certainty that you have the enough support of your family and friends. Other key that we have for you is respond simply and honestly. Answer to the person questions sometimes could be difficult, and we can feel a little bit uncomfortable with that situation because there are questions that we would like to answer. Um, how it was the death process, or he was ill, or even when it's an accident or a suicide, we don't like to answer some questions. But we can be just simple and honest. He take that decision, or that happened, and I don't have the right answer for that question, and try to be clear with the feelings that you already are passing through, and try to answer just um, questions that you already have the answers. We don't need, or you don't have to create different answers, just only to avoid some situations. Just answer the more specific and questions and be honest. Don't try to change the reality. Just say the things that you know that are necessary. um, Anticipate reactions. This is something that we can also have as a safety and protection of our integrity, because it's an additional support that we can have. Because if we have a accompaniment of different professionals, we can also have the ability, or also we have this ability to check, hey, this person is having this reaction and maybe will be dangerous, or could be something that I can confront alone. For that reason, anticipate reactions could be the way that I can be prepared for something that I don't have the control, or even I don't have experience. You can also, if you have the chance, you already know that your loved person or your loved one will pass away soon, you can ask or even call to the funeral homes and they can be part of that process before the death. And also consider special needs. As I told you before, we can also have members in family or friends with mental disabilities. So, and also the children and adolescents can be these special needs, can have these special needs. So we can talk in the same way. We also have to be more slowly to even give that new. And it's important to recognize that we have that kind of people in our family members and friends. So the way that we're going to talk with them and also to accept and inform the situation with these kind of people will be different. So try to talk with the family or with some professional that can recommend you how they can even react, and also how you can um, support that kind of different uh, people, children, adolescents, or people with special needs like mental disabilities, or people that can even accept it in the same way. Seek timely help or advice. As I already told you, um, this can have an advice also for the people that can be prepared before the death, and also for the people that is not ready to, or even that don't have the chance to say goodbye to that loved one person. So you can have also the funeral homes or the hospital have professionals that can have help in that situation, because sometimes the news in the same in a specific moment we don't are in a prepared or a good situation in or a specific space that can bring us the help. So you can ask in the hospital for help and assistance in that specific moment if you have a person that is reacting in a not common way, or even if you can even inform that situation because it was so abrupt for you, you can also ask for a professional support and help. So during the funeral service, there are many actions and decisions to be made, um, because we are after the death. So there are many actions and decisions to be made, but emotional shock and denial can take control um, to many decisions and attitudes we see in family and friends. After the death, we can be in shock, or even we can be in a denial stage, and that is common, that is normal, that is part of the grieving process. But also we can, or we need to take decisions, important decisions about the death process, about the dead person. So we have to keep in mind these kind of things that we have to do after the death, or even in that situation, what happened, and also what we're going to in front. For that reason, we are going to talk now about what we have to do after the death, and in that situation that we have to take decisions um, in the first days, that the first days are the more painful for all the family, for all the people that was close to that loved one. Define as a family the funeral service, um, how they going to perform, how the funeral service will plan, or they going to do something in specific, because all the funeral homes have different package to offer, but depends of the departed loved ones, they wants to do it. But if you don't have the chance to talk, or even you don't have the chance to know what they wants to do after the death, you can decide as a family what you would like to do. That happened with my grandfather. We don't have the chance to ask to him if he wants to be valued or burn it. And our family members, my aunts and uncles, have to take the decision. It was pandemic time, and so they take the decision of burn it. But we already have a specific ceremony in the church, and it was so beautiful because that was the way that we can even say goodbye to my grandpa, and also we have that chance. And the funeral homes will be, and also it was with us during all the process, during all that day. Participate in rituals. Memorials and funerals are moments to be united, not only to commemorate the departed loved ones. That is the moment that promotes a connection as a family and friends. Also, that can help you to complete your grieving process. As we already talked in previous conference, that will be the way that we can say goodbye. As I give you that example with my grandpa, I can say goodbye to my grandpa, and also all my family members can do it. But in that moment, in that ritual, we can say goodbye. We can close that situation in our hearts, and also decrease the isolation, because the isolation is normal, is common in the grieving process, but stay in that stage is not common. Will be a symptom, and maybe can affect you and decrease as a depression in that person that decide to isolate itself. Um, Also, other key that we have is encourage and allow participation in rituals. This is really, really important because it's the moment that we can have to talk about what happened, to express their feelings, and also to talk about the death, and also can give us the chance to facilitate the mourning process. Talking about what experiences you have with the deceased will give you the chance to honor them, and also to give you the chance to be grateful about the person that you know, the person with you share many years in your life. So it's the way that we can also share how we think and also how we feel, and share the people comments, how they remember him. I remember that in my grandpa's my grandpa funerals, we talk about him, and also we talk about he was in the first years in his life, when he was a father, when he was a husband. There were so many histories, stories that we don't even know. The grandchildren, we don't know the person that we have as a grandfather. It was a great husband and a great father. So that increased the connection with the departed loved one, but also increased the way that I'm going to remember him or she, depending the case. So it's important to talk about that, the dead person, and also maintain respectful attitudes and silent listening with every person that accept the challenge to talk about the departed loved ones. That will help you to even complete the mourning process, and also the farewell will be better in that situation. Talking about also the memories that you already have, and also create a new and better imagine or picture of that departed loved one. Also, expressing your feelings, we already read, and encourage give and receive support. That is important because we need also to accept and recognize when we need help, because we are um, that frequently attitude to give help and give support. But when we are ready to receive support, we need to ask ourselves when we need support, when we need the help, when we need the accompany of different person. Um, could be with the family, could be with friends, could be with our partners, or even could be with a professional. Remember that if you are part of a Cheerful Life, you have the benefit to have a counseling session if you are passing through a bereavement process, or if you need, as a family, um, help and support during this grieving process. Be aware to legal prepare work and documents is other key that we have. Is something important that sometimes we don't like to confront in the first days after the death, because it's something that we don't like to do because we feel tired and or we feel so sad, but it's something important to complete it. Required for the legal process is like, hey, I have to look for the death certificates and another documents. That is important. We would like to also talk about that because sometimes we forget about that legal process because we are so shocked, or even we can't accept it. But it's something that if you don't feel with with the enough energy of, if you don't feel that you can do that process, you can ask to a friend or family member to complete that process, because it's important to do it also the first days. Also, other key that we have for the following days after the death um, depends, before to talk about that, depends of the days, and also depends of the culture, depends of the country. The times or elapses between the death and funeral varies, because we can have like 8 or 10 days to stop the routine, stop the common tasks, stop the job, stop the school, um, but depends of every country. So we can also um, go through this process, accepting the new reality and continue the routine, but completing these first days without do the jog or complete the jog, or stop the school almost 7 or 8 days. But when we finish that elapse between the death and between the funeral process, we have to continue with our routines. So we can feel confused and acknowledge about what is happening. Will be difficult for us to start to do the things that you already um, did before the death, but we have to continue with the life, because as already talked about that in previous conference, the life continues. The death or even the died person is not with us, but we have to continue with the life and accept it. So how are we going to confront this life and this new life after the death? Is one of the things that most of the people can feel confused. For that reason, we would like to give you um, some advices to confront that first days after the death, when you completed all the funeral barriers and the first days of death. One of the things is notify the companies um, is something important because if you need to close a banking accounts or to notify to the financial companies, insurance companies, if you have to do the retire process, is something that you can also start to do after the death, some 1 or 2 weeks. If you notice to the company, sometimes the company take responsibility of that process and close the bank account, but sometimes it must do the family members that is in charge of that process. So it's important to remember and take into account the things that you have to do and close some financial situations. It is most important to complete it in this time. Define child and pet care. That is important because who's going to take care of these um, children of this pet? Who going to take in charge when is father or mother dead? It's difficult to take that decision because it's a situation that sometimes we can even know how to confront, or even we don't like to talk about that or think about that, but sometimes we have to take care about it and also take that decision in not common days, in few days. So take responsibility, try to also talk with the family and take the better decision who's going to take care about the children and also about the pets if the dead person have once and when he was alive. So it's a difficult decision to take in few days, but it's important to recognize who's going to have that responsibility right now, so you can even talk or ask for one advice to one family member or even for a professional. Assign tasks to your support group. That is so important and easily, and is a good way to help you because you can delegate tasks to different memories, to a different family members, and also that is the way that you can help to yourself to complete the grieving process because you are not taking in charge of everything, and passing 1 or 2 years you can even have no idea why you feel so sad or angry about something in specific. You don't even know. Sometimes it's because you don't complete the grieving process in a good way. For that reason, complete this delegate task process could be the way that you can help to yourself to have more time to dedicate to yourself and to dedicate to your own grieving process. Start legal formalities. This include cell phone um, or even um, mm, personal things or objects that the departed loved ones have, like credit cards or cable, internet, driver license, and other things that the person that the departed loved one has. So you have to take in charge of that kind of papers and formalities, and also, as I told you, can sell their services or even announce to the company. Take in charge of that, and that talks could be not only for a person, could be to different family members delegated. Also, we have other um, other tax is cancel some service. We already talked about that. What to do? Decide what to do with the deceased social groups. That is, this is something that is common in this generation because before the social media, we don't have to take decisions about this. But now that we have social media apps and programs, we have to take decisions about this. So you have two options in this situation. You can close all the social media, and that will be a way to notify to the social community that the person is dead. Or also, some apps have this option to create or turn them into a memory account. The account will be open, but only for the people or the people that is out can left comments to the departed loved one. So the people, when they notice that the person dead, can leave a comment, can leave even a picture with the departed loved one, and say comments, tell the stories, and the people that was friend or following that person can read it and also remember that in a good way and honor it, the departed loved one, in a new way. So you can also have that option. And the last advice is find out what support is available. That is important to recognize when we have the enough support. Sometimes there is people that can recognize who can help them, can even be people that can support them, but sometimes we as a personal way don't feel enough or even don't feel with the brave to ask help, because we can feel that we are adding more stress or pain to other people. So try to recognize if you have one friend, one family member, or your partner can be that support, or if you are doubting about it, you can even look for the support with a professional psychologist or a professional doctor in this case. Now, the following days are already with the advice. Now we're going to continue with the how to support the bereaved. As a family members and also as a community, we need to be prepared and also taking account some situation. Supporting the bereavement during the first date is an act of love and also an act of solidarity, because we have in that situation two objectives: to attend the practical matters and provide psychosocial support. So if you are the person that is supporting that person that is the bereaved, we also create different kits or advices to apply in that situation. Keeping the routines. We already talked about the routines that are so important during the grieving process, but if you are part of a supporting person of the bereaved, try to keep in mind the routines that the person already have. Even if you know that the person have some routine of prepare food with the partner and now the partner is dead, you can be that person that help to cook, or even you can accompany during the meal times, because there are people that says, hey, I can do my own lunch or my own breakfast, but I can do the process of or even eat alone. That is the moment that I feel more alone, or even that I feel more pain. So in that process, that first days, if you can accompany the person in the meal times, that will be a good help. And also in different examples, if you notice that the person is not able to complete some simple tasks like go to the market or go to the mall, if you can help with that simple tasks that make some lot of effort of to the bereaved, also you can help with that simple task. That will be a different example. Other key that we have is make sure the company So avoid the isolation stage is one of the things more important to do, because we have an isolation react, and it's normal in the bereavement process, but we have to stop it in enough time. So try to visit frequently or call, and give that calm and serene presence will be enough. If you don't feel ready, if you don't know how to help that people or even to help that person, you can even just only stay with them in a quiet space, in a quiet position. That will be more than enough, believe me, because it's the way that you can be with that person and also stop that isolation stage. Other key is contribute to the successful completion of a specific task. You can also help to complete tasks that are difficult for them, and also that increase a lot of energy, that demands a lot of energy, will be a good help and support. So make a list of that things, or those things that are difficult for that person, or you are seeing that the bereavement is not ready to do it. And also you can communicate openly with that bereavement person that you will help with that in concrete. Try to recognize in which kind of things you are good to do, and help and communicate to the person that you will help with that simple task or difficult task. Watch for warning signs. That is something important, and also sometimes we are not ready to see it and recognize, because that part is a specific situation after the departed loved one goes. When we have that warning signs, is that kind of symptoms that stay in line, stay in time. Sometimes the people or even the bereavement can have physical and mental symptoms, so they will be sometimes ignored, and they can increase with the time. So we can have these warning signs, like the person is not sleeping well, the person is not having the good, or even having the meal times in appropriate moment, or the person stay in a painful mood. So we have to start to question about what is happening, and also ask if is that normal, and if we can help as an individuals, as a family members, of if you need to also advise to that person if maybe needs professional support. Be empathic. This is really important, and also is like a base to accompany that kind of situation, and also to accompany that kind of persons, because it's to remind the person in a good way that you are with them, and the grief process is normal. And also, if you have to listen the same situation, the same story all the time, it's normal. And also try to share to that person that it's normal to feel confused, sad, or sometimes angry, but be part of that process. Also, always try to advise that, hey, you have to do it for yourself. Hey, I am for you. Hey, I can listen to you, I can be with you. If you need me, you can call me. That is empathic. That is the base of this process of accompanying the bereavement. Now, it's important to give importance the first days after the death of loved ones, because it's a confusing period, is a very emotional and high impact on relatives, that deceased person. But we have also to recognize that we can have different ways to react but also we have the chance to learn how we can confront that loss in a good way, in a better way every time. For that reason, supporting the first date, supporting people during the first date of bereavement is an act of love and solidarity, as I told you before. The two objectives, remember that, to attend a practical matters and to provide psychosocial support. Keep in mind that two objectives and actions that are all capable to providing. We don't believe all the time that we can help in simple ways. Just listen to the people or telling them that you're going to be with them all the time that they need. That will be simple acts, but will help them a lot. Also, as we already told you, in every conference you have the chance and also you have the benefit to ask for help and for the counseling psychological sessions. You have that benefit with A Surefour Life. So thank you so much for being here and also for listening to us, for be part of this community that we are creating as A Surefour Life members. And if you are not member, also you can enjoy and learn with us in this conference and also this YouTube channel. You can also have different ways to follow us and also learn. We have different social medias to be updated with the different conference that we have created for you. And also I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel that we have for you with the conference, because most of the time the topics that I can talk here, we already have a lot of different specifications, and we go maybe deeper in some specific topics. As I already told you, the warm signs. The warm signs, we have a different conference about it, is how affects the mourning process or the bereavement process in mental health and physical health. So it's a way that you can also have deeper information about that. I would like to also invite you to the incoming dates for the activities and also for the different conference. And on February we have 2 dates. We have the February 7th and February 21st. We have Living Fulfilling After 60, and the second topic is Navigating the Phases of Grief, Addressing Denial. On February 7th, we're going to talk about the elderly, and also on February 21st, we're going to talk about the grieving process. The first stage is the denial, when we can accept or we deny that reality of the death. So as I told you before, thank you so much for being here and also for being part of this community that we already create, and also for share with us the comments and also to share some suggestions that you already have. This is your space and we are so glad to be part of you. We stand by your side.